Hey everyone, so we finally hit 1000 subscribers. Big thanks to everybody who's helped support the channel so far. Really appreciate every one of you. You guys really are a legendary community. Let's keep going. So in this video, we're going to take a look at how to build free-to-play units correctly. I hope to do a number of videos where I can help the new players especially, or even if you're not a new player but you want to build your free-to-play units correctly. And I saw a lot of new players on the previous video talking about what should new players pull for. A lot of new players commenting and sharing your new teams. You guys have amazing teams. Some of you have Credenza, Samantha SP and Camelot. Really good time to start the game. And even though you're new players, your teams are almost just as good as anything that's out there. So I'll try my best to keep making these videos for new players. The purpose of it is just to fast forward you guys up to where us older players are. And so that you don't have to spend over a year to figure out the things that we had to figure out and just save you lots of time. So we're going to start off with Rawiyah first. She's a free-to-play unit that we all get. We get a number of copies of Rawiyah as well, which means you can push her up. I think it's to 4 stars. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to take a look at how to choose the correct skills for units. And this is very, very important, especially for non-legendary units. If we go to Blade, for instance, he's a non-legendary unit, an epic unit. You only have one chance to choose the correct skills on these units. If you choose the incorrect skills on your units, you have the risk of bricking the unit because it just doesn't make any sense to spend these very rare resources, Castalias, unlocking the other skill that may be on the left or the right side for non-legendary units, or even a lot of legendary units. Castalias is something you should only use for the very best units in the game, just because of how rare they are. So a big mistake a lot of players make is they'll choose skills quickly on these units because they're not very rare units, so they'll choose skills without doing research on which are the correct skills. Then they'll figure out that they chose the wrong skills, but you can't go back. You've basically made this unit much less valuable. So I'm going to go through each of these skills and try to give you the most optimal skill selection possible. It's not going to be 100% accurate. There's no one size fits all as well. Different stages ask for different skills as well. So just keep that in mind and use these recommendations at your own risk. So starting off with Rawiyah, at rank 1 you can choose the left or the right skill. On the left side we have co-attack. It's a passive that can increase the attack for your allies up to 15% if they are around 2 tiles around you. It's an average passive, but remember we only have 3 skill slots. We have a skill slot exclusively for our basic attacks, and we have a skill slot exclusively for our reaction, and then we only have 3 other skill slots available to us. So if I had to choose a skill, I would go for the one on the right here. It's toughness. This is also a passive. It makes her immune to the effect of injured and dying. She can still go in the injured and dying state, but she's immune to the penalties of being injured, which reduces your damage and increases the damage you take if you're injured or if you're dying. So by having this toughness, she's not going to be taking these penalties even if she's hurt. At rank 3, physical single target attack of 130% damage and some armor piercing there. Generally, these skills with just 1 tile range like that, these basic attacks, single target attacks, are very tricky to pull off. They've kind of lost their value as the game's progressed because there's a lot of AoE attacks in the game now. And it's very hard for a unit to execute these attacks because you have to get right next to the enemies. So in general, these skills aren't going to be that good. You want to go for the skill on the right here, another pint. It's an healing, an instant healing, so you can use this for free. Rawiyah recovers 60% of lost HP and gains a buff called Tipsy for 2 turns. This is a nice way to have sustain. And you get this buff that increases crit chance and decreases the damage taken as well. At rank 5 is where you always get your reaction skills. Remember, we have an exclusive slot for these reaction skills. So oftentimes you'll see a kind of a unique reaction skill, one that the image will look something similar to the unit. So that's kind of a unique reaction skill made just for Rawiyah. In her case, both of these are made just for her. You can actually see her sword in there. Otherwise, sometimes you'll see maybe one unique reaction skill and then one generic skill that's used across all kinds of units. But I've gone for the reaction on the left here. So when she's hit by an active attack, she performs a strike back. You can counter attack. And when she has Tipsy, she knocks the enemy back 2 tiles. Very nice reaction. The reaction on the right is not bad as well. She takes physical attack for all other allies within 1 tile of her and performs a strike back and also knocking them back just 1 tile. I wouldn't recommend this. You don't really want Rawiyah to be tanking for your team, taking damage for your team. It's only for physical attack as well. and they have to be within 1 tile of her. So this is a much weaker form of assisting cover than the one you'll get from your defender units. And she's not a defender, she should be doing your damage anyway. So we'll go for the one on the left. At rank 7, on the left side here, Mania Smash. Physical damage again, 120% and 40% lifesteal. Again, you can see the kind of insignificant range that this thing has. It's going to be tough to pull off. High energy cost of 3 energy as well. We go for the skill on the right, which is her leadership aura. So you have, in this game, you have what I call superior leadership auras, and you have normal leadership auras. This is like a superior leadership aura, or an advanced leadership aura if you want to call it that. For all Sword of Convallaria, allies in battle increase attack and defense by 20%. So regular leadership auras will just have this attack and defense increase, but the superior leadership auras will have like an additional bonus here. And damage dealt is increased by 8% and decrease their damage taken by 8%. This is good for you as free to play as well, because you'll have a lot of free to play Sword of Convallaria units like Maitha and Faycal, or if you get any other units as well, you can buff them with this. And for Rawiyah as a free to play player, to have this leadership aura is going to be very valuable for you. Even if you have non-free to play units like Momo, Nono, you can still use your Rawiyah to boost them. At rank 9 is where you get your basic skills. Fatal attack on the left, 100% damage, and increased crit damage by 15%. If you don't have a high crit chance on Rawiyah, this is going to be tough to pull off anyway. The one on the right is 100% damage as well. It dispels 2 buffs on the target. I would say you can have your pick, choose whichever one you want. Maybe the one on the right would be slightly better. At rank 11, we go for the skill on the left. Gale Spin attack. It's just going to be physical AoE damage of 50% and inflict physical defense down 2 for 2 turns, which can be very useful against bosses. Subsequent attacks deal an additional 50% AoE damage. High energy cost though. It's difficult to pull off with all that energy cost of 4 energy. Units only start the battle with 3 energy. The skill on the right is a passive that I'll ignore. When an ally in battle is defeated, recover 30% HP. And Rawiyah gains attack up 2, physical defense up 2, and magic defense 2 for 3 turns. Very conditional, you need to have your allies die. You don't want to be relying on that, but I think I would go for the one on the left, just for that physical defense down 2 on bosses. And then this is a Gale Breach is a skill that she comes with. It's the initial skill she comes with. It's an instant. She will charge, which is great. This gives her mobility. Unlike those skills that just have 1 tiles, these are very useful for your units. She'll charge, deal 30% damage, and then this skill will switch into Tropical Cyclone for 2 turns. When she has Tipsy, she inflicts no reaction skills on the enemy after the attack. So the skill will switch into Tropical Cyclone, which is going to be a very powerful single target attack of 140% damage, and increases damage by 10% for each debuff on the enemy, up to 50%. This can be your main damage dealing, and the energy cost is not high. It's just 1 energy there. So I'll always run her basic attack Gash, reaction Screw Off, Gale Breach I'll run for most of the damage, and I'll run another Pint for more regen, and I'll run Toughness. This is a very specific build where I'm running this gear, Feast Axe, Cooling Powder, and the Gibbous Moon. This is a specific build I run for her. It's like the regen build where she doesn't die. You just have to change that engraving to Wand. I'm not going to go over all that. I've made a whole guide on that. The purpose of this video is just to show you which of these skills we should go for. If you can push your Rawiyah to rank 13 and unlock her Ascension skill, then she can get this passive skill as well, which will ignore block. While Tipsy is active, attack, crit damage, and skill multiplier are increased by 15% and damage taken is reduced by 15%. It's another good skill you can get for her. Obviously, this is just 1 skill. You don't have to choose between 2 skills. So if you have the resources, you could go for this skill as well. Next free-to-play unit we're going to look at is Faycal. At rank 1 on the left, we can ignore the skill. It's a passive. It's a little tricky to pull off, and it's not that great of a buff. I recommend the skill on the right, Support, because it's an instant. You can use it for free, increases movement. He gains climb and jump as well for 2 turns. This will allow you to make your Faycal more mobile. At rank 3, we can ignore the skill on the left. 130% damage inflicts a debuff that's not really... It's very specific. situational. The one on the right is better. You can perform an alert within this kind of area, 120% damage, and you interrupt the action of any enemies who walk in this area. We use this defense to stop the enemy's action as well. At rank 5, when we come to reaction skills, so again, you can see this one is a unique one. It's kind of got these colors as well, and then the one on the right here is more of a generic skill across all units. So we go for his unique reaction skill on the left here. When Faycal is being attacked from front to side by enemies who are not on adjacent tiles, he initiates a strike back. So you just get a nice strike back there. Hit by an active attack, you decrease damage 8%. After being attacked, he gains move 2. I think the one on the left edges it there. But either one of these, I don't think you're making a major error. Either one of them could be fine, but I would go for the one on the left there. At rank 7, again, yeah, you can have your pick on which one you want to take. I would recommend the one on the left, Cloud Piercing Arrow, just because it's a curved shot and it's got a lot of range, like so. Or you could go for another alert skill on the right here, in a 3x3 area. And this one can be activated 2 times per round, but this one's not going to interrupt the enemies who are in this area. Whereas the skill down here, it's got better range, and it's only going to hit one enemy, but it's going to interrupt their action. So we only have 3 skill slots, so I don't know if you want to run both of these alert skills, 2 alert skills, but I've chosen this one alert skill because of the interrupt, and then I've gone for Cloud Piercing Arrow just for the range there. But you could definitely choose both if you wanted to run 2 alert skills as well. At rank 9 for our basic attacks, you can see this is a unique one. It's got Faycal's colors, Rapid Fire. You perform 2 attacks, each dealing 55% damage. And yeah, you can see one of my mistakes. I actually went for the one on the right. Fires a curved shot which deals 85% physical damage and increases crit damage by 15%. So definitely the one on the left is better. I just didn't understand the game at this time. They both have the same kind of range there. Maybe the crit damage appealed to me, but it doesn't matter if he has crit damage if he doesn't even have crit chance. You first need to activate a crit before you can even use this crit damage. This was 85% damage. This is a guaranteed 110% damage. So we'll go for the unique one on the left, his unique basic skill, instead of the generic one. At rank 11, we have Gale Below Volley. 4 energy cost, so he probably won't be able to use this on his first turn because units start the battle with 3 energy. He deals 5 hits of 60% AoE damage to random enemies within 2 tiles, like so. So he'll be standing there and he'll fire to one enemy, and he'll do damage to within 2 tiles of that enemy to all other enemies. Damage he deals to the same target repeatedly will be decreased by 50%. This is a very strong AoE attack that he has. I definitely recommend going for this one. And then on the right we have Heart of Alert. It's a passive when it is not the character's turn. Increased crit by 45%. Additionally, crit damage by 30%. So this is a nice passive skill. And this ties into his 2 alert skills, because alert skills are performed outside of his turn. So you'll increase your crit chance quite significantly and nice crit damage with these skills. Problem is you'll have to Castalia if you want to get access to this one, unless you're willing to give up this nice AoE attack that he has over here. And we don't really want to be using Castalias on units like Faycal because he has fallen down on the standards of some of the latest units. I wouldn't even recommend Castaliaing this. Choose whichever skill you want and then just stick to that. If you want to go for the full alert build as well, then maybe you could go for this skill, and you can go for both of these alert skills as well. Next up is Maitha, the original. So for Maitha, I recommend the skill on the left. Passive takes physical damage for all allies within 2 tiles of her. When triggered, defense is increased by 20%. This is to allow her to protect her allies as a defender doing assisting cover. The one on the right is another passive that's going to increase your defense for allies around you, but I would recommend the one on the left there. At rank 3, we have a support skill, Come On Everybody. Maitha restores 20% HP, very little amount, a low amount for support skill. Attack up 1. So attack up 1 and physical defense up 1 is really outdated. It's a very low buff, and so whenever you see this, it's just not good enough. You need at least attack up 2, Attack up, and then to all allies within 2 tiles, she takes physical attacks from the enemy for allies within 2 tiles for 2 turns. So both of these can be used to protect your allies within 2 tiles of you. This one, though, is a passive, so it's permanently going to be on. This is like a once off. And you have to position it correctly, and it's going to end a turn because it's a support skill, a non-instant. Maybe I would recommend the one on the right here. So here's another mistake I made. I wasted a Castelia on a unit like Maitha previously. So I recommend the one on the right maybe, because this one is going to give her nice mobility again. Nice range there. So she'll charge at the enemy, 130% damage, and doing a knockback by 2 tiles. Knockbacks are very valuable in SOC. So I'd give her this. She could use this on the Tower of Adversity and stages like that. And just to give her more range. At rank 5, we have Endurance activation. When receiving healing, gains damage reduction 2. Again, an outdated skill. You can get damage reduction 2 from other sources in the game now. The skill on the right is the one I would recommend. She will block the enemy's attack, and she will also strike back. So it's a very nice one for her. And then at rank 7, she has a leadership aura, so this is a normal or regular leadership aura. It just gives you the attack 10 and the defense 20 for all your SOC allies. Not as good as Rawiyah's superior leadership aura, which has an additional bonus. But I would still recommend the skill on the left. You can still use this as an alternative to your Rawiyah, because the skill on the right is just not worth it. It is an instant, but it's just single target healing of just 30%. That's just too low. Rank 9 for basic attacks. Maybe I would recommend Armor Piercing Strike, just for the physical defense down and magic defense down. She's not really doing much damage, but at least she's helping her other allies do more damage on these enemies. Otherwise, you could just go for an extra 10% in attack with a powerful attack. And then rank 11, Maitha's combo. I would recommend this as well. It's going to do a number of attacks. I recommend it again for the knockback, because knockback is very valuable in this game. The skill on the right, Invulnerable. It seems like a very good skill from the outside, and it is, but it's not an instant. And I just think that having the knockback on the left here might just outweigh it in terms of value. And maybe you can use this Invulnerable on your Papal Guard. We'll take a look at him later. Let's take a look at some of the cool units like Spear of Iria. This guy's very good. He's better than a lot of legendaries as well. So I would recommend the skill on the left at rank 1 because it's an instant. You can use it for free. We get that great mobility where you can charge, does some damage. Skill on the right here is a passive. You have to go into standby to gain this move up 1 and 2. So very conditional. Why would you want to just go into standby? He's a very action unit. He doesn't go into standby a lot. So we go for the skill on the left there. Skill on rank 3 on the left here, passive. If no enemy counter attacks him when he attacks, then he'll pursue that enemy and deal piercing damage, which is very valuable, of 50% physical attack. So you're just getting this free damage he's doing after doing attacks of piercing damage as well. Only 1 turn cooldown. On the right side here, we have piercing damage, single target attack, 90% piercing damage, ignore assist before attacking. For each tile moved, attack is increased up to 15%. After attacking, the character gains dodge for 1 turn. I wouldn't take this skill. It is cool, but the range again is not that great. And I think the one on the left just edges it. The passive on the left just edges it because you're getting this free damage, basically free 50% piercing damage anyway after your other attacks. Rank 5, we have a reaction here on the left I would recommend. Before taking an active attack from front to side, performs a counter attack, strike back dealing 70% damage to the attacker. Nice counter attack there. I wouldn't recommend the one on the right there. And then on rank 7 on the left, we have another dash that he has, an instant free dash. Again, piercing damage, where you can charge at the enemy, dealing piercing damage of 30% physical attack. You inflict no reaction skills, and vulnerable too. That's quite valuable on the enemy. And he gains physical defense up and magic defense up too. Really good skill. I definitely recommend this skill. I would run this dash skill of his as well as this dash skill of his, so that he has 2 free dashes basically. And then the skill on the right, yeah, again, insignificant range here. Single target attack, 170% damage. It's not piercing damage, it's just raw damage. Before attacking, dispels 3 buffs on the enemy and inflicts Isolate. Isolate is not that great. It just means that the enemies don't get their allies buffs and things from their auras. So it can be situational, and the dispel, I mean, you can use other units if you need to get dispels on bosses and things. Again, the range isn't great. Well, just go for the one with the amazing range here, and it's for free as well. And he gets all these incredible buffs and debuffs on the enemy. At rank 9 for basic attacks, he's got powerful attack. And then the one on the right I would recommend. He's going to do piercing damage of 25% of his physical attack. Then deals piercing AoE damage equal to 40% of physical attack to enemies. So you get a nice AoE piercing damage attack. Next up we have Papal Guard. Papal Guard is really a cult hero. He may even be a stronger defender than Maitha. So I recommend the skill on the left here at rank 1. It's an instant where you get a physical shield and block enhancement for 2 turns. 2 energy cost, no cooldown, so you can use this every turn to spam shields on him. That's important for boss battles when you want to use him to absorb a big boss attack, and he can have these shields. The ones on the right is a nice knockback as well. Low range, not great range on this, but we want to build him specifically for defense, so we'll just stick to defense here. At rank 3, we have heavy armor on the left here. Passive, at the start of the battle gains a physical shield of 25% HP. Kind of an outdated skill here. Problem with this thing is, it's just a once-off shield in the whole battle. A small shield. So why would you waste a whole skill slot just for this skill that's only going to be taking effect once per battle? We go for the skill on the right, where he will take damage for allies within 2 tiles around him. At rank 5, on the left side here, when receiving healing, gain damage reduction 2 for 2 turns. I would recommend the skill on the right here. And you can see my errors here. I shouldn't have wasted a Castalia on a unit like this. Maybe I've took this skill first and then realized this one on the right is better for him. Reaction: when hit by a ranged attack, the damage taken is decreased by 25%. This is important against bosses who are going to do their ranged attacks against him. At rank 7, it's tricky for me to recommend a skill here. I would think I would go for Invulnerable on the left here, just because we want to make him a pure tank to survive against big hits from bosses here. Thus you can get the damage reduction for 40% reduction in damage to survive a big attack there. I do use this a lot for bosses, so I think I would have to just recommend that. On the right side we have a passive Flagellant, stacks 1 penance. After taking damage, each unit stacked decreased damage taken by 8%. Additionally recovers 1 energy if the character has penance stacked at the end of each turn. Yeah, so these penance, they can stack up to 3 times and reduces his damage by 8%. So you can go up to 8, 16, 24% damage reduction if you have 3 stacks. And then also energy recovery. It's also good. The problem is he has to first take damage before he gets this boost in his defense. So by that time he may already be dead. So on the first turn, when the boss is going to launch a very powerful single target attack, the skill could maybe help him on the first turn to reduce damage again. I think I would go for this one. Next up we have Blade. Very cool Seeker unit. So we want to ignore the support skill on the left here and go for a full dodge build for Blade. We don't want to really have him as a support unit. So we'll go for the skill on the right here. Takes 50% less AoE damage and gains 2 dodges. At rank 3, we can ignore the 20% extra damage we get from this skill. We can go for the skill on the right, which will allow him to move after acting, just giving him more mobility, maneuverability to get out of danger. At rank 5, we can ignore this kind of support reaction skill, and we can go for the reaction skill on the right here. Decreases damage after being attacked. He gains move 2. It just allow him to be even more nimble. At rank 7, short range again on this skill, 150% damage. If the enemy is injured, you can increase crit and crit damage. We'll go for the skill on the right. Just continuing this dodge build. Gains 1 dodge for 1 turn. Upon a successful dodge, teleports to the attacker's back, deal 100% damage and gains another dodge for 1 turn. And then rank 9, I haven't even chosen any skill year after year or a year of playing the game because I'm just not sure which skill to choose, and I don't have the skill slots for either of these skills. Basic attack deals 50% physical damage twice. Short range there, basic attack deals 50% damage 2 times, inflicts no dodge. I don't run either of these skills. You know what, I'm just gonna take the one on the left here just to get that 3% defense, because it's been over a year now. So yeah, that's the build I kind of go for him. It's just basically all the skills on the right here. Again, use these skill recommendations at your own risk, but I think this is definitely the better build for him. Just focus on one kind of build for him. Next up we go to Suppression. So I don't know why I didn't choose this skill. Passive, immediately recover 5% HP when he is defeated, so he can revive again. I went for the skill on the right here, not sure why. Again, so Suppression is you want to build him as a tank. I don't know why I built him, took this damage dealing skill here. When performing an active attack, damage increases 10%. When the character strikes back, damage increased by 30%. Well, Suppression does kind of do damage as well. Does a lot of counter attacking and defending, so... But let's go for the tank build here for him. So then we have Devout Guard here. Healing, the character dispels 3 debuffs, recovers 40% HP, gains physical defense and magic defense 2. The character takes attacks for all allies within 2 tiles around him, so assisting cover. And increases the trait effect to 200%, lasting for 2 turns. The trait effect, magical damage taken is decreased by 10%. I think they're saying that you increase this by 200%. Very high magical defense there. The skill on the right here, another good skill, deals magical damage equal to 80% of physical attack to all enemies and attack down 2 for 2 turns. Another good offensive. This is the right side seems to be the offensive build, but we're gonna stick to the defensive build. I think he has more value as a tank for your team because his damage does kind of get outscaled later. So, but he always stays relevant as a defender. At rank 5, when hit by an active magic attack, damage decreased 15%. It's very situational. Just for magic attacks, it's only 15%. I'd go for the one on the right where you get a counter attack. When hit by an active attack from front or side, performs a strike back. If the attacker is within range, deals 70% of basic attack damage. I'd rather go for that, you get some damage there. We have Flagellant again, where you can stack these penance. Every time he takes hits, he gets 1 stack of penance. And he can increase his defense up to 24% and then get some energy sustain as well. Again, defensive build, so I would go for this skill. Or you could go for the regular leadership aura, which helps your Papal units increase the attack by 10% and defense by 20%. Right now, there's not a lot of Papal units that depend on attack. Maybe Karis or some Maitha SP, but Karis has her own leadership aura. For basic attacks, 100% physical damage and recover 1 energy. I like this one. The one on the right inflicts physical defense down 1 and magic defense down 1. Again, 1 has kind of been outdated. So the better skill is going to be the one on the left here, definitely. You can get that energy recovery for him as well. Energy sustain for him. So yeah, I would go for this for the left side here as the tanky build, the revive here, the healing, the buffing himself here, the assisting cover. Counter attack, I'd choose that one there. Again, the defense here in Flagellant, and I would go for this one with the energy restore. He does come with this initial skill. It's like a knockback, so great value there in his knockback as well. But that's one we get for free anyway. So I've built my suppression incorrectly. I don't even have the skills I want to run on him. Let's move on to Tempest. At rank 1, passive, increase attack 20% when attacking enemies from the front. Increase defense 40% when being attacked from the front. You could go for this one, or either one I think is fine, yeah. Don't think you're making a major mistake. I like the one on the right, passive after initiating an active attack. Deals 20% physical damage to all enemies within 1 tile of the character. So just nice passive AoE damage that he does after every attack. I prefer that one. At rank 3, recommend the skill on the left here, just for that range we get with the charge. Unfortunately not an instant, 150% damage. When having Wind Fury, knocks the target back 2 tiles. The one on the right is like a support instant skill. It's just for 1 unit, I think. Gives you a small shield. It's not worth it. Also 4 turn cooldown. For his reaction skills, we have an energy recovery, which is always nice. We have a unique looking skill here, reaction skill for him. Before receiving a melee attack from front or side, deals 50% damage to all enemies within 1 tile radius around him. If having wind armor, additionally inflicts damage down 2. So just this wind armor, it's in his trait. After he attacks, he gets the wind armor, which is gonna increase his defense. And after being attacked, he gains wind fury, which is gonna increase his attack. So yeah, I definitely recommend the unique one on the right there. Rank 7 here, passive. If he's dying, he recovers 50% HP and 2 energy. Just 2 turn cooldown. I like this one on the left here. On the right side, we have a physical single target damage attack of up to 160% damage. Maybe I would recommend the skill on the left there. Dispelling Strike, dispel buffs from enemies. Charge attack. I think I would recommend charge attack. 100% damage. Increase the damage of the next skill by 15%. I'll maybe recommend that one. So let's move on to Bitterwort. Bitterwort is an amazing support. She's better than a lot of legendary units as well. Even has 3 factions. Just quickly to understand her trait. She's got this thing called Bitterwort buff. If in a dying state, after attack, recovers 40% of HP. Removed after the effect is triggered. Yeah, so she's got this amazing buff for herself and allies. At the start of the battle, she'll grant this Bitterwort to all allies around her. So on the left side, we have a nice attack command aura to increase attack of your allies around you, but I would recommend the skill on the right. Inner Light is a very powerful skill for a support unit especially. This is an instant that's going to give a big range of effect there to give all your allies 1 energy. Rank 3 we have Police Lasso over here. It's an instant after attacking. Inflicts restraint. Attack down 2 is no assist. For targets who already have restraint, additionally inflicts stunned for 2 turns. Can be used 3 times. Don't normally run the skill on any unit. You have to cast it twice on the same unit in order to get that stun. It's just single target. But the skill on the right is going to be an AoE with piercing damage on the group of enemies of 10%, and you inflict 2 stacks of infection, 3 stacks of infection, which is very good skill. It's on a lot of common units as well who use this skill to cheese very difficult stages with tough enemies, weak enemies. Doesn't matter what your stats are, you know, you're still doing the same amount of damage. Rank 5, we can ignore the damage reduction reaction on the right. We go for the one on the right. When hit by an attack, the damage taken is decreased 8%. Upon receiving an attack, inflicts vulnerable 2 on the attacker for 2 turns. Very nice. I mean, if you want the damage reduction 2 after receiving healing, you could go for the skill on the left. You can't really make a major error there. Rank 7, we've got the great healing AoE skill. Heals all allies for 60% magic attack. Attack up 2. Regeneration 2 is very nice. For 2 turns. Also grants Bitterwort to 2 allies with the lowest HP in battle. So she gives Bitterwort through a trait at the start of the battle, once off. But with this skill, we can also give it to allies using this skill. So you have a very powerful skill because you get the regen, which is going to regen their HP. Bitterwort is also kind of a regen if they go into the dying state and they go revive right back up again. On the right side we have Quick Bandaging passive. At the start of the turn, heals a random injured ally within 3 tiles of the character, healing 30% magic attack, dispel 3 debuffs, and if the target doesn't have Bitterwort, gains Bitterwort. Here's another way we can get the Bitterwort buff. This is a very good passive as well. It kind of makes you have to, kind of leaves you with a difficult decision. You may have to Castalia this, even though she's just an epic unit. She's a very, very good epic unit. She's a very strong unit, so I think she would be worth Castaliaing, making an exception to the rule for her to get this one. Let's see if there's enough skill slots for this skill first. If we go up to basic attacks, we have Merciful Strike, which you want to go for to increase your healing a little bit there. Again, attack down 1. The 1s are not really going to help you that much. So we have 3 skill slots. We could go for this skill and we can Castalia this one. That's 2. So we have 2 ways of getting Bitterwort and more healing, more regen. Obviously go for that reaction. And then we have 1 more slot we can use for this energy sustain skill. So I think Bitterwort has some great skills. She can restore energy. She's an energy battery for your team. She's also going to give you healing and lots of regen and keep your allies from basically from dying. As soon as they get down to the dying state, they can revive up. I think 1, 2, 3 is going to be good for her. It does come with Bitter Medicine. It's a free initial skill. It's just a single target healing and also gives him Bitterwort. If this was an instant, maybe I would run this, but I'm not going to run this skill. I actually need to replace that. I'll be running this Luxite Shrapnel because I'm not going to Castalia that skill. I do have other support units that do some of Bitterwort's functions like the energy recovery and regen. Next up is Crimson Falcon, a Seeker Assassin. Crimson is a little bit tricky. There's a number of ways you can build it actually. So I might actually recommend the skill on the left at rank 1 passive, Inspiration of Comrades. At the start of the turn, if there are 2 or more allies within 2 tiles around the character, gains damage up 2 for 1 turn. When hit by an active attack, if there are 2 or more allies within 2 tiles around her, decreases damage by 20%. So the increase in damage by 20% and the reduction in the damage that she's taking by 20% I think is quite good, as long as there's some allies around her, versus the skill on the right, which is also a passive. When performing an active attack, if the target is unharmed, so it is very conditional, they have to be full HP, deals 20% more damage. You're getting the 20% more damage here anyway, and you're getting the damage reduction there as well. And then when performing a back attack on an unharmed target, again very conditional, additionally inflicts no passive skills for 1 turn, just for 1 turn. It's not really a good debuff. Yeah, I think I would definitely recommend the skill on the left there. I like Precision Strike here, increase your crit chance by 15%. If you hit a back attack, it's going to increase crits by 40%. On the right side here, we have Lock On as another passive. At the start of a turn, inflicts physical defense down to on the enemy with the highest physical attack within 6 tiles around the character for 1 turn. Yeah, I would stick to the skill on the left because it's just going to be increasing your crit chance. She's going to be doing more damage anyway with this. There are other units that will do the physical defense down 2 on some bosses for you. So let her just focus on increasing her own single target attacks. Rank 5 again is kind of tricky here. So when she gets hit by an attack, you reduce the damage by 8% and you gain move up 2 after being hit by an attack. So she can move 2 extra tiles, which would be nice for her to move around. But I think the one on the right, when it's also going to reduce damage by 8%. And if she's in the dying state, she gains dodge for one turn. Can be activated 1 time per round. So you can use this, you can get multiple dodges within the battle with this. I think this one may have more value. You can have your pick, whichever one you want to go for. At rank 7, she has an instant teleport behind an enemy within 1 tile range there, and you can steal a buff from that enemy. On the right side, Battle Fever. After initiating an attack, an active attack, the character takes 15% less damage, dealing critical damage. Additionally, decreases damage taken by 25%. Yeah, so have your pick which one you want here. Do you want an instant teleport for her to maybe reposition, or do you want to make her a little bit more tanky? Maybe Battle Fever would be actually the better skill here. And then at rank 9 for basic attacks, you can have your pick here. I would go for the one on the right for the extra 10% damage, powerful attack. Also, she comes with Flurry of Stabs. Her initial skill, 45% damage 3 times. When attacking, crit increases by 20%. So I would run this on her as a main damage skill. I would run Precise Strike to increase crit again by another 15%, up to 40%. That's 2 slots. We have 1 more slot. Maybe I would go for Battle Fever because she has so much crit now. This is easy to activate. You can reduce damage 25% again there with this skill, just making it more survivable. Or I would use this passive Inspiration of Comrades. If there's allies around, you can increase your damage and decrease the damage taken by 20%. Next up is Stinger. Stinger's got an amazing skill here on the left, rank 1. It's got 3 stacks of infection and 70% damage as well. Nice range on this as well. So infection, irrespective of your stats, you're going to be doing great damage over time to enemies with this. You can ignore Flurry of Stabs on the right here. We want to go for the infection build. At rank 3, we can ignore Battle Fever on the left. We go on the right side here, Settlement, passive. After an attack if the target is dying and has Hangman's Mark, deals additional piercing damage 30% to target's max HP. This is a very good finishing move. If the enemy is dying, he's able to kill very strong enemies with that piercing damage, finishing off enemies. At rank 5, we go for the Papal Guard on the left. Reduce damage 8%. If he's dying, he gains a dodge. You can get one of these dodges per turn. Instead of the counter attack on the right side here, we don't want to increase his raw damage. We rather want him to increase his survivability, so we give him the dodge instead over here. Because we just want him to stay alive as long as possible and just keep stacking that damage over time. Infection stacks on the enemies. He's very good in tough stages, but we just need him to stay alive. Rank 7 again, more damage over time with the Lockside Shrapnel. A nice AoE area there, 3 stacks of infection again. We can ignore the skill on the right here, even though it looks good, 170% damage. The range is not that great, and again, we don't want him to do raw damage, we just want him to sort of cheese tough stages with damage over time. And then we can go for this basic attack on the right side here, or no active skills here. Next up is Ballista. Ballista is a unit I had trouble figuring out which skills I should choose for him. So maybe I would recommend the skill on the left here. Passive, after attacking, inflict physical defense down 2 on the enemy. Instead of this Knight's Glory. It's a nice instant, but it's only for one ally. And this physical shield's not really worth it. So yeah, I would definitely recommend Penetrating Arrow. And then rank 3, Catapult, with 140% damage to one enemy in that shape. And knocks the target back 1 tile. Knockbacks are useful. And you gain shield break before attacking the enemy. If they have shields, they're going to take more damage from this. 45% more damage from this skill. On the right side, we do have Scatter. 70% AoE damage to all enemies in this area and inflicts move down 1 for 2 turns. A tricky one, choose. Yeah, I'm not sure which one I may come back here and then just decide later. Let's just take a look at some of his other skills first. When hit by an active physical attack, damage is reduced by 15%. It's conditional, it has to be physical attacks. The one on the right, when hit by an active attack, damage reduced by 8%. So any attack, doesn't matter, it's going to reduce. I think this one's better. When attacked by an enemy from lower ground, lowland, the damage taken is additionally reduced by 30%. Right, at rank 7, passive, basic attack ignores 40% of the target's defense. The right side, I think I would go for the right side because the skill on the left, it's nice, but it's only for your basic attack. The skill on the right is you have to prepare for 1 turn. You gain a physical shield of 40% HP. After casting the skill, deals 160% damage to all enemies in this area. Afterwards, deals 30% damage to all enemies within a 1x3 area in the same direction and knocks them back 2 tiles. After casting the skill, the character will be afflicted with stun for 1 turn. I think this is good. You have to prepare for 1 turn, but I think the shield, the knockback makes it worth it. 4 energy is an expensive skill though. At rank 9, basic attack of 110% or 100% on the right side here. Physical damage increases crit by 15% before attacking. I would just go for the straight damage, maybe on the left side there, either one of these. He's also got this powerful shot that he comes with, single target attack, 130%, can go up to 15% additional damage. So what skills would I run on him? I think I would run Siege on him. And I would run this reaction on the right side there. For the second skill slot, maybe I would run this passive for the physical defense down 2. And then we have to choose maybe between one of these 2 skills. I think the skill on the right would be better. You're doing AoE to a number of enemies and move down 1 on these enemies. Would be good. The only reason I would maybe choose the skill on the left is if you wanted to use him for a stage where you need knockbacks. Next up we have Lightning. Amazing art design that she has. At rank 1 again I would choose the passive on the left. Make her more tanky. If she's dying, she'll recover that HP and energy restoration, and ignore the support because it's only for 1 single target over here. It's 4 turn cooldown as well. Crit command is very good. Increase crit by 20% for allies within 2 tiles around her. I would go for this one instead of Battle Fever. And then for reaction, you can reduce damage taken by the front by 30%. I would just take the hardening, reduce damage by 8%, or doesn't have to be front, no conditions. After being attacked, you gain damage reduction too anyway. So you get 20% reduction in damage again there. Rank 7, we have a AoE physical attack. Before attacking, you gain crit 2 for 2 turns. On the right side, we have lightning, passive, increases speed by 50, increase crit by 50% if moved more than 3 tiles before attacking. So she'll move 3 tiles attacking, probably always crit the enemy. Then you can go for the one on the left, yeah, basic attack, or the basic attack on the right. I would go for the one on the right for that life steal maybe. Yeah, so that's a basic attack. This will be one of our skill slots. And then for the second skill slot, I would run crit command. And then the third skill slot, I would run will to survive, maybe. Actually, she has an initial skill. This one I would run with a phantom storm for her main damage. A nice AoE damage there. Move down one is nice too. And before she attacks, remember she can crit. 50% crit chance. So I'd use this for her damage. I'd use the lightning one here. Just to give her the crit chance. Extra speed as well. And I would use crit command, the will to survive. It's between the will to survive and the crit command for that final slot. Right, so this video is running a bit long, so I'm going to break this down into maybe 2 parts. And then we'll continue with other free-to-play options in the next video, going through all of their kits. Hope you found this helpful. If you think that the units should be built in a different way, definitely leave a comment. But stay tuned for part 2.